Uiteindelik Vrydag, nog 'n week is verby. Steek die vure aan en oor die hele kontry. Boeties sussie, almal saam, oupa en ouma ook. Los jou worries by die huis, want hierdie boerejol gaan kook. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die borstel vure brand, en die konsertina praat. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar op hierdie boerejol vandaan. Wat is 'n braai, sonder aardappelslaai, terwyl maar dit maak, en die kinders stokbrood braai. Al pas sy gitaar uit, met die concertina saam. Vanaand gaan ons tiekie draai, laat die stof so staan. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die bosveld vure brand, en die concertina praat. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar op hierdie boerejol vanaand. En laat aan das ons opkyk na die sterre en die maan. Dis dan wanneer oom Koos vir ons spookstories vertel. Kort voor lang is die kinders bang, wil niemand meer gaan slaap. Dan haal pas sy gitaar uit, met die concertina staan. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die bosveld vure brand, en die concertina praat. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar op hierdie boerejol vanaand. Goeienaand, baie welkom, lekker om hier te wees. Kom ons kry hierdie Keir aan die gang. Dis lockdown. Ja, ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die bosveld vure brand, en die concertina praat. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar op hierdie boerejol vanaand. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar op hierdie boerejol vanaand. Waar die kindertjies baljaar op hierdie boerejol vanaand, en waar die bosveld vure brand op hierdie boerejol vanaand.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Herzlich willkommen wieder bei uns. Unsere Sendung heute kommt aus den Vereinigten Staaten, aus Pennsylvania. Ich bin der Oberst Chris Wyatt und ich wünsche euch ein glückliches Wochenende. Tja, wir fangen heute an mit manche Themen. Tja, was kann da man sagen? Wir haben unsere Wahl in wenige Tage hier in den Vereinigten Staaten. Und viele Leute überall auf der Welt, die haben großes Interesse auf unsere Wahl. Und ich auch. Ich erwarte etwas interessant am 5. November 2024. Tja, okay. Hello folks, welcome back. It is the 11th of October 2024. Welcome back to the program. Pleasure to see you all again. Let me check and see if we got the tinny sound today. Welcome back to the program. Pleasure to see you all again. Let me see, it sounds perfect. I didn't have to do anything. Very strange what's going on. But welcome back. We'll cover a lot of events around the world as always. But let me start off with what came in my mailbox yesterday. Also, I'm not wearing rugby kit for those of you curious. This is not rugby, but rather a hoodie from my alma mater, Ohio University. Why is it so crooked? There we go. Ohio University. Yep, it's the home of the Bobcats. I liked it so much I went there twice. At 17 for a year. And came back when I was a bit older and more mature and ready for the university life. Yeah. All right, folks. This came in my mailbox yesterday. It says, make your voice heard on November 5th. Dave McCormick, the senator we need now. Well, I don't know if Dave McCormick's the senator we need now, but given his choice, our choices, whether it's Dave McCormick or Bob Casey, it's hands down Dave McCormick. What I will say is the unbelievable blitz of negative lying ads being run by Casey and the Democrats and appearing on television. Last night, I watched Fox for the first time in donkey years. Gutfield was on, and there must have been 15 adverts in 1 hour falsely accusing Dave McCormick of things he's never done, lying about his position on abortion. I heard it personally from him, his position on abortion, which is not the position they claimed he has. They're just a bunch of liars. And then this one was really cool. This came in the mail as well yesterday. Check this out. Trump fans, I want you to vote early. Well, I don't want to vote early. That's not what patriotic Americans do. That's what lazy Americans do. Patriotic Americans vote at the polling station. If they're unable to go there, they file for a federal absentee ballot and do so legally, attaching legal jeopardy because they're not afraid of voting. Only people who are subverting the election process will want the mail-in ballot. Yep. Vote straight Republican. That's not going to happen. I know 2 candidates who are Republican that I will not be voting for in this election. Trump I'll be voting for, but these 2 I will not be voting for, guaranteed. Guaranteed, hands down, not going to happen. Anyway, those are pretty cool. Yes, Pablo Charlie, I see Trump winning in a landslide, electoral landslide anyway, if not popular vote. Well, 39 people here on a Friday. What's going on? Are people hanging out somewhere else? What are my opinions of Microsoft buying 3 Mile Island? They're not buying 3 Mile Island. Microsoft has convinced Constellation Energy to fire up the second reactor at 3 Mile Island after spending $1.9 billion to upgrade the technology and the equipment. And then they have turned to the federal government and asked for money. They want a loan from the federal government. They want us to pay for their upgrade so that Microsoft will have the electricity exclusively from the second reactor in 3 Mile Island. They didn't buy 3 Mile Island. Yeah, so that's my opinion. My opinion is that I'm perfectly fine with Microsoft funding it out of their pocket. I'm perfectly fine with Constellation Energy delivering power solely to one customer. That is their prerogative. I do have a significant problem with people turning to the federal government, the taxpayer, for us to fund something to make Microsoft wealthier. That doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. Lottie Monday is in from Howick. Welcome. How's it going, Howick? Teresa, I recently was in touch with John Tungay and his wife and checked in on them. They're doing well. In Howick. Of course, he's nearly 90 years of age, so it's always good to check in and see how he's doing. Tanya de Beers here. Welcome back, Tanya. Ulrich Fenter, Gerrit Gillitsch. Du alte Knabber, du! Was machst du denn eigentlich heute in Somerset West? Ja, bisschen Wein, bisschen Bier, Bratwurst, Schnitzel. Ja, was tut denn man eigentlich in Somerset West? Ja, manche wollen wissen. Dylan Combrick is here. Welcome, Dylan. Pablo Charlie, welcome back to you. Hester Kotze, Alan Kotze. You know, I've never noticed that, but I just noticed the same last name as his surname. Slippery Pickles here. Clive Streak. Marty Van Ballen is back. Welcome to you. And I think that covers everybody in the chat. No, Sue Walsh, I missed. Sorry, I just saw that. I see no Hendo. I see no Erica. I see no Debbie. I see no Ronaldo. There's Theodorus. What's your take on the investigation of Paul Mashatile? Nothing will come of it. Paul Mashatile will only be pushed to the curb if he is bucking what the ANC wants. That's when they start coming after people. Look at Busizive Makwebene. They went after her because she was investigating Ramaphosa. And plenty of reason to get rid of her, but that's why they went after her, not because of her ineptitude. Yep. What's going on? I get this string straightened out here. There we go. I don't like uneven strings. Yep. What did Garrett say? Steak and wine. You're very welcome for my inquiry. Nachfrage, an inquiry. Let's learn German. Today's word of the day, das Wort von heute ist Nachfrage, inquiry. Yeah, Paul Mashatile, nothing will come of it. Nothing has come of Ace Magshule or Zandile Gumeda, like we've forgotten about Zandile Gumeda. Yeah, the list goes on and on. They only go for small fry, who they can afford to expend. Cyril Ramaphosa today, no prosecution. There's no prima facie evidence that he's guilty of a crime. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's believable. Hey, Keith Alderson in from the UK. So let me just run through a few of the points I made in my video earlier. So I asked if they have the currency documents for importing $580,000 illegally. If they do, then maybe the case there's no merit to it. Do they have receipt for the income taxes that Phala Phala and or Ramaphosa filed for receiving $580,000? Do they have those? Or do they have whatever? I mean, look, if you and I show up at the airport with a suitcase full of $580,000, you're going to have to pay customs money. You can't just bring $580,000 in. So how can a crime not have been committed? And to receive that money and to hold on to that money and then hide it in suitcases or in couch cushions, how is that not a crime? By the way, did the Sudanese businessman ever get his $580,000 back? Since he never got the cattle? And there's no evidence that they're all the same, that Cyril Ramaphosa perverted the means of justice and misused security forces for his own personal benefit. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. That's strange. Namibian police officials have given statements to that effect, that the Presidential Protection Unit came to them to hunt down the Namibian thieves. Now, how is that even possible if there isn't perversion of justice? The Presidential Protection Unit's job is not to hunt down stolen property from Cyril Ramaphosa or Phala Phala, but rather to protect the designated protectee, Cyril Ramaphosa. That does not extend to doing his laundry, mowing his lawn, hunting down criminals who stole his money. No. That's a matter for the regular police. Someone perverted the means of justice. Maybe it was Wally Rhoda. Yeah. And so they have no evidence that these accused thieves were ever tortured, despite the fact that Arthur Fraser told us they were and gave us evidence of it. Never mind the huge report that came out on it. We're going to talk about that as well. And what about any disciplinary charges for SAPs for lying in their annual report? In the annual report that the VIP Protection Services Unit produces about all that they do, they had over 40 residences of VIPs that they protected. Not a single incident in that fiscal year in 2020 when that occurred of any break-ins or any incidents whatsoever at any of the 40-plus VIP residences. So that means they lied. That's a public document. We've read it. I brought it on air a few years ago. It's a public document. It's a matter of record. So, who's lying? Why is there no disciplinary action or criminal charge against SAPs or the VIP unit? Anyway, there you go, folks. There you go. And Chris Marie has made an appearance here. Welcome, Chris Marie. Good to see you again. And James Boo's back. Shabbat Shalom and good Yom Kippur. Yes, it is Yom Kippur, the time in 1973 when the Arabs dastardly, underhandedly attacked Israel. And the country just barely survived the onslaught in 1973. I did not see an interview with John Steenhuisen. I, however, have seen a news report. Who interviewed him? Newsroom Africa, SABC. And what did he say, Pablo Charlie? They seem obsessed. The EFF seems obsessed with his hiring practices. I think the EFF should be more obsessed with the authenticity and genuineness and capability of their own members of parliament rather than parliamentary staff. SABC. No, I did not see it. Okay, let's get to the news, which will include this story about Cyril Ramaphosa. By the way, anybody see the TikTok video from Gretchen Whitless in Michigan? She is a weirdo. Phala Phala. Near Phala Phala survives another day. Another day. Teflon Don Cyril Ramaphosa lives another day. I will give credit where credit is due. Lance Whitten from the IOL writes an article that the IOL actually published that is actual, genuine journalism. What? The IOL doing journalism, news reporting, and analysis? No way. Say it ain't so, Joe. Well, it is so. Actually, a news article that's newsworthy in the IOL. I'll tell you, I nearly broke my ankle when I was knocked to the floor with a feather earlier. Just blew me over. The IOL, the toilet paper of record, actually ran a news story, and a well-written one. One, fulfilling its role as the fourth estate, holding government accountable to its citizens. Wow. I don't know. Did Jupiter go by Mars or Venus? Is Saturn in retrograde? What's going on here? Wow, the IOL doing news reporting. My goodness, we're going to remember this day. October 11th, 2024. Cast your mind back to December 2022. Jump in the Wayback Machine with Sherman and Mr. Peabody as we go back to December 2022. The Sunday Independent ran the headline, Cyril Ramaphosa broke the law, Phala Phala Farmgate report. And it was correct. Retired Chief Justice Nkobo chaired a 3-member panel to investigate the scandal involving the theft of U.S. dollars out of his Phala Phala farm. The story the Sunday Independent broke is an exclusive along with video footage of the suspected criminals skulking around the shadows. Judge Nkoba found that Ramaphosa had a case to answer, and there was prima facie evidence against him on 4 serious violations. The actual report I'll show you shortly. And it wasn't some Mickey Mouse panel. The investigation was an independent Section 89 panel constituted to get to the bottom of the scandal. What they found was that Ramaphosa had violated his oath of office. This is a fact. The report reads as follows. In light of all the information placed before the panel, we conclude that this information discloses prima facie that the president may have committed a serious violation of Section 96, Paragraph 2, Section A, violation of Section 34, Paragraph 1 of PRECA. That's the serious misconduct. The president violated Section 96, 2B, and a serious misconduct he violated Section 92B in a different way, exposing himself to the situation. Anyway, and it came with a list of recommendations here. In light of all the information, the panel concluded the president may have committed the following. Yeah. But then we all know what happened. ANC and its organs tried to cover the whole thing up. The public protector excused him, said he committed no crimes, except that that's not what happened. He committed no ethics violations, is what she said. But the media didn't say that. And then the South African Reserve Bank failed at its prima facie job and excused him, saying that the money was illicit, but since the transfer never occurred, no harm, no foul. Well, you walk into an airport in South Africa with a suitcase full of $580,000 and see how much money you walk out with. It is a banana republic, ladies and gentlemen. Absolute banana republic. So here you go. Hang on. This is what Lance Whitman had to say. Let me break it down in simple terms. Someone comes into my home from outside the country with millions of rand in foreign currency. That is not declared to SARS, ostensibly to pay for items that they never receive. Other people then break into my house, stealing the foreign cash hidden in couches and other furniture in my house. Bear in mind that I'm not home while any of this is happening, so I claim to have known nothing about it. Then, once I find out my home has been broken into and this illegal cash has been stolen, I send a hit squad into Namibia to catch the crooks and extradite them. And of course, I'm not personally involved. My people do this for me, and I later claim to have no knowledge of this because I wasn't there. I didn't personally order anything, these things to happen. Does this sound like the actions of president or the actions of a mafia boss? Wow. Anyway, there you have it. Yep. So the National Prosecuting Authority declines to prosecute Munir Phala Phala for Phala Phala. Look at that lost in the headlights look that little Cyril's got there. Director of Public Prosecutions in Limpopo, Advocate Mukiali Ivy Tenga, chose not to prosecute. There is not enough evidence to get a successful conviction, she said. Really? Here's the Section 89 Independent Panel report from November of 2022 on Ramaphosa's purported crimes. Wow. 87 pages in length. Storage of the money inside a sofa. It is common cause that there was foreign currency that was stored below the cushion or concealed in a leather sofa. Now, the president himself told the panel that the money was stored below the cushion. That's according to the president. Cyril Ramaphosa admitted that the money was hidden under a cushion. I'm sorry, aren't you a very wealthy man? Don't you have bank accounts? We always heard that apartheid was unfair, that historically disadvantaged people don't have banking services, which is a misnomer. South Africans have far more access to banking services than, say, Cameroonians or Congolese or Rwandans do. But the point is, he has all the access in the world. The man jet sets around the world trying to foster peace in Russia and, lick the boots of the Chinese communists in China and beg for money in New York. He goes everywhere. So, except the African Union, when he's even there. Anyway, so, yeah, he's the one that told him it was there. The president said the following concerning where the money was kept. Mr. Ndlovu was due to go home on leave on December 30th. He felt uncomfortable about leaving the money in a safe at the center because he was concerned that several staff members had access to the safe. He decided the safest place to store the money was in my private residence on the farm. He stored the money below a cushion in the sofa in a spare bedroom that is hardly ever used inside my private residence because he thought it was the safest place, as he believed nobody would break into a president's house. So you have a safe. Okay. Do you know how hard it is to deny other staff members access to the safe if you're in charge? You change the combination. You change the combination. Then nobody has access. But more importantly, why is the cash there? Why wasn't an EFT? Why wasn't a wire transfer? Why wasn't a bank transfer? This is disgusting. This is the most crooked man on the continent of Africa. And that's saying something. Look at the Obong family, the Bongo family. Look at all of these other corrupt individuals like Emerson Mnangagwa. This man gets away with it. Unbelievable. The investigator said, we assume that Phala Phala Wildlife has a safe to keep cash until it can be banked. It's a fair assumption. Indeed, the money was first stored in the safe. Why is it that several staff members have access to the safe, which increases the risk of safety and of cash? Does that mean that several staff members have keys to the safe or access to the code? That's exactly what I just said. The money was kept in the safe on December 25th. It's still there on December 26th. Why was it still there on December 30th? It was actually still there in January. That's when it was stolen. Is it normal for a South African at a game ranch for someone to rock up and give them $580,000 in cash? Would your heart not leap? If I worked in the Okavango Delta at one of those camps where they charge $10,000 a night for a bungalow and somebody gave me $580,000 when they got off the plane, do you think I wouldn't be a little concerned about that money? About losing my job? About my future security? About crime? Why in the world would it be there? The first place I would go is with the security guys to the bank. Oh, my goodness. Wow. When did Mr. Nduluvu's concerns about keeping the money in the safe arise? Perhaps it was because he was going away on holiday. On his return, why did he not take it out of the sofa? At what stage was he going to give Mr. Von Wheeler a report about the sale and cash in the sofa? Why was the money not taken to the bank before he left for holiday on December 30th? Why did the president not take the money to the bank in light of concerns expressed by Mr. Nduluvu and the fact that Mr. Nduluvu was going away on holiday? Perhaps the decision to store the money in the sofa was taken after the president left the farm. But why did he not give Mr. Nduluvu instructions to have the money banked prior to returning? Yeah, exactly. The information presented by the president on the storage of the money is vague and leaves unsettling gaps. On his version, it would appear they instructed Nduluvu to have the money stored in the farm pending the return of Mr. Von Wheeler. Mr. Nduluvu decided the money must be stored in the president's private residence in a sofa below cushions. It's not clear whether the money was stored below the cushions or inside the sofa. If a sum of $580,000 in cash was stored below the cushions, it would have been visible to anyone passing by. Yes, $580,000 is a huge stack of money. It does sound like Fonnie Willis. It does. Well, John Steenhuisen is in the news. The EFF is going after him over his appointments. He was deliberately deceitful about his attempt to hire unqualified colleagues. Now listen to this snarky nonsense coming out of Julius Malema. Julius Malema said that Steenhuisen must know that Ijampile, it's over, he must leave it because he's a matriculant and loves matriculants. He is so married to the idea of unqualified people, we're not going to sit back. Now, I'm getting a little bit tired of Julius Malema's idiocy. What degree does Julius Malema have? What degree has he actually earned? And what does it matter? A matriculant is a high school graduate. That means someone who's functionally literate in society. So, fuck off, Julius Malema. You child. You small child. The EFF complaint adds that Steenhuisen erred when he allowed the nominated candidates to start working when the appointments had not been finalized. But they weren't paid, pending approval from the ministry, the other ministry. And it was disapproved. So they don't work there. What's the problem? What's the problem? No other ministry is so scrutinized. None at all. In fact, I'm going to talk about someone who runs their mouth and all this lunacy and idiocy. This is just racism is what it is. The EFF and the ANC believe the DA is a white party. It's not, but they believe that. So all their actions are racist driven. Every single one of them. They're such fragile egos that they cannot comprehend the possibility that someone who looks different than them could contribute to a successful South Africa, could lead and be in charge of them. Because just like their forebears or predecessors, forebears sounds better, in the National Party, they are just as racist. Just as racist. Well, Tshwane's got power back after the transformer blew, but not for Shoshanguve. Ooh, that's not good. That sounds like racism. Racism. They're denying electricity to the poor black township. That's racism. I'm telling you, fellas. Ooh, they're probably burning crosses out there right now. They get ropes and they're lynching people because it's all racist. They restore power to Pretoria, but not to Shoshanguve. That sounds racist to me. Yep. There you go. So power has been restored to the city of Tshwane, except for Shoshanguve, after parts of the city were plunged into darkness on Thursday. The Skinner Street River and Edmund substations, which were fed by the Bellon substation, were also affected. This left the Central Business District, Union Buildings, Arcadia, Sunnyside, Hatfield, Steve Biko Hospital, and many other areas without power. But now they fixed it. But those racists only gave the power back to the white people, because no black people live in Hatfield, no black people live in Sunnyside, no black people live in Brooklyn, except they do. Billions of rand pissed down the drain trying to reduce the size of the South African National Defense Force. This story in Propaganda 24 today by Jason Felix. Billions have been thrown at reducing the size of the SANDF, but while personnel headcount is declining, the cost of employment keeps increasing. Why is this? Because theft. The Department of Defense received nearly 2 billion rand for an early exit program, but irregular expenditure, theft, and other financial miscontrols have hampered this plan. Wow. Defense recorded a significant decline of 9,120 personnel in their headcount from 2014 to 2023. But they've noticed that the costs keep going up. Well, that's a decade period. What do you expect? Personnel costs, of course, are going to go up. Where is Patrice Motsepe? We need him. Someone must save the young entrepreneur Drip's shoe business. Such a brilliant man. This coming from the mouth of Julius Malema, a rich man of no means, but wealthy nonetheless. How about Julius Malema save Drip? By the way, is Drip worth saving? Do you even know what Drip is? And we're not talking about going to the hospital. Where is Patrice Motsepe? Malema. EFF leader Julius Malema wants to understand the reasons behind the collapse of sneaker brand Drip after the Johannesburg High Court ruled in favor of the company's liquidation due to its inability to settle a 20 million rand debt. A 20 million, that's $1 million. Juju, you've got that. You and your corrupt party got more than $1 million. Why don't you just pay for it? And what business of the year is that a business went out of business? It's a private sector. Footsec. Piss off, Juju. Why is there no business rescue? We go to liquidation because there's nothing worth rescuing. Why is there no saving? Where is Patrice Motsepe? We need him. If he's a successful black billionaire, where is he when young entrepreneur with such a promising future is going down? Well, Patrice Motsepe might be a black billionaire in part because he doesn't make stupid business decisions like rescuing a brand that has no hope. I have a meeting set up with Sahona. I want to understand what is going on. I want the details of what is happening because at face value, Drip was doing well and was a growing brand found in many shopping centers. However, we don't know the internal use of money and all that. Well, doofus. Rapid expansion is done in many corporations. You order stock that's not selling and then you flood stores with it and your brand is depressed and people don't buy it. Joseph Malema knows nothing about business. He knows nothing about anything except being a race hustler and a charlatan. So he should shut his yap and be quiet. Drip, is it worth saving? Well, the shoes look attractive. I'll say that. I'll tell you that much. Named after the day of inception. Drip. There you go. Drip shoes. But the website is incredibly slow. I like that blue in there. That's not bad. Kind of looks like a girl's shoe, though. It's kind of a ripoff of Asics. Their emblem looks very much a ripoff of Asics. They're Drip J26. By the way, they cost a fortune. Now, these look ridiculous. Something like WNBA players would wear Mellows. Those are a Crocs ripoff. There ought to be a trademark infringement on that one. Yeah, so these things are not cheap, folks. Not cheap. Let me see. Let's go for the J26 and see what it costs. Now, watch how long it takes to load this web page. True, I'm overseas, but 1,700 rand. 1,700 rand. Are you high? That's nearly $100. That's no different than buying a pair of Asics. You can't even sell these shoes in South Africa. But Julius Malema is to the rescue. Well, John Steenhuisen says pigs didn't consume human remains. Is that the interview that you were asking about? Yes. That's right. Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen says Maria Machato and Lucian Lovu, who were killed, their bodies dumped in a pigsty, were not eaten by the animals. In a question and answer session in Parliament, Steenhuisen said post-mortems conducted on the corpses revealed the pigs did not eat human remains. The pigs were slaughtered and sold to the marketplace, and people had ribs. Sorry, I was enjoying my ribs. Sorry, that's kind of cold and callous. Those women were brutally murdered, and we've yet to get to the bottom of that. I was not commenting on their tragic deaths, the thieves, but rather on the stupidity of the whole story. Well, a storm is brewing over meat. Do you know South Africans don't produce enough meat for themselves? They have to import meat. Who knew that? The Association of Meat Importers and Exporters, AME, have raised concerns about significant port delays due to troubles with meat import permits. South Africa's total meat imports reached 6.9 billion in 2023. That's a 5% increase over 2022. And exports were valued at 5.6 billion. That's a 12% increase over the previous year. However, Amy worries that this is going to be impacted because the process of issuing meat import removal permits used to take 48 hours. Now it's taking 8 to 9 days. Why is that? Onerous government burdens on the private sector, undermining commerce once again. That's what happens when government gets too big for its britches. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Chairperson of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Communications and Digital Technologies, Kamala Diko, is in hot water for her idiotic comments, exposing once again that most of these people who sit in government positions, whether it's in the Tshwane Council or it's in Nelson Mandela Bay or Cape Town or the National Parliament or the provincial legislators, are all just frauds. They're not actual legislators. They're not actual people trying to create legitimate laws for the betterment of the country. They're not actual people repealing laws that are useless. They're not people trying to do something for your benefit or mine. They are frauds. They are charlatans. And this is a perfect example. The ANC has destroyed the South African Postal Service, which worked. We have now had a minister in charge of communications from the DA for 3 months. And this asshat makes stupid comments about how decrepit the post offices are, how heartbreaking it is. I'm sorry, moron. You were running it 91 days ago for 30 years into the ground. Such frauds. Chairperson Kamala Diko is being criticized after slamming the state of South Africa's post office and the new leaders of the ministry after just 3 months in office. The DA Sole Malatsi is the Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies. She visited the post office in Flagstaff in Eastern Cape and was not impressed. The situation on the ground is truly heartbreaking. Employees work in filthy, hazardous conditions. Elderly men and women are going for weeks without being able to collect their grants because the post office are not talking to resolve their issues. Bereaved families are unable to bury their dead because the post office has no money to issue, sometimes for weeks on end. And again, we are ringing the alarm and calling the government to act with haste to intervene. Sorry, lard ass. Isn't that your government? Isn't that your government, which you're a plurality party in, that allocates the budget? The budget that this communication minister is working off of is one that your fat ass approved last year. Lard ass. Seriously? What a fraud. What an absolute fraud. That's like the Biden taking credit for claiming 42 million jobs he didn't create. They were artificially suppressed during the COVID scam. Unbelievable. Look at this. Look at this idiot. Look at her. Here we go. Let's just listen to her moronic stuff off of Twitter for a few moments.
Okay, so today we're at Mozambique Hill municipality, specifically.
Today we're at Mozambique Hill to talk to specifically the municipalities. Let's see what she's got to say here.
Supposed dignity for not only its employees but also its customers. This site is very important. It sits in an area that...
This site is very important. Where have you been for 30 years? You're not 15. You're not 20 years old. I'm looking at you. Let's look up her age. Let's do a little history check on Miss Kamala Diko. Let's see what we can find out from a search on this lady. Hang on a second here. Yeah, she's pissed me off now. Politician. Okay, here we go. Khusela Diko, born Sangoni, is a South African politician, public servant, communications strategist. She was spokesperson for Ramaphosa from March 2018, July 2020, when she was implicated in the high-profile COVID procurement scandal and took extended special leave. Formerly the head of communications for the ANC from 2016-2018 as head of communications at Gauteng province. Served on the Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC in Gauteng. In December 22, she was elected to a 5-year term on the party's National Executive Committee. So what is she doing in the Eastern Cape if she's responsible for Gauteng? The only daughter of, she's a princess of the Nobel clan of the Abatembu. Oh, that's why she's in the Eastern Cape. She comes from there. You mean? So she's been involved with the ANC since at least 2016. So this woman is royalty, but she's an idiot. Graham Hope just subscribed. Thank you, Graham, for surviving subscribing. Yeah, wow, what a dingbat doorknob this lady is. What an absolute dingbat doorknob. Wow. Hey, what about that police officer who murdered people after she took out insurance policies on them? What about her? She's traumatized. Her lawyers say she's traumatized now. Does that mean we can't prosecute her? A policewoman who allegedly orchestrated the murder of 6 people to gain more than $10 million in insurance payouts is traumatized, according to her lawyer. Sergeant Rasetia Rachel Kutomela facing 6 counts of murder, 11 of fraud, and 2 of defeating the ends of justice. This is a traumatizing situation. It's not easy. The lawyer said that she'll cope only in prison by the grace of God. Well, too bad if she doesn't cope in prison. She's a murderer. If there are allegations against my client, they must be proven in court. We can't preempt anything. We've just received the contents of the charge sheet. We'll analyze it and take it from there. This is a traumatizing situation. Now they're trying to get her bail. No bail. No bail. Well, we don't believe Action SA will do better in Tshwane, says ANC Youth League. Neither do we. Neither do we. We don't think so either. Oh, my goodness, ANC Youth League. For once, we agree on something. African National Congress Youth League President Colin Malachi has expressed a lack of faith in newly appointed Tshwane Mayor Nasipe Moye, who is a PhD, and she's the former deputy mayor. But he says that, she shouldn't be learning. Oh my goodness. We stand by the position that we must take the mayorship in that metro, fix it, and restore it to what it used to be, a Tshwane that's glorious where townships are serviced. That has never existed. That has never existed. There was no Tshwane before the ANC created it. And there was never, since the ANC created, a Tshwane municipality that delivered what this clown is talking about. I don't know if Action SA Mayor will be able to do that, but let us give them the benefit of the doubt. Oh my goodness. Well, the National Student Grant Facility, corruption there, shocker. Yep. Administrator of the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, Freeman Nombolo, told a conference that former matric classmate of him called him recently asking whether his scheme subsidized domestic workers. So one of his friends has a domestic worker who's not in school and is getting a bursary to attend university. Yeah. When you have a certain pigmentation, you can get away with anything. Spectacular auroras taking place all over the planet. Southern lights on display in South Africa. Check it out. Early morning hours today. It's the second time that the aurora could be seen from South Africa after more than a 3-decade wait. That's incredible. We have the aurora borealis that we see here in the northern hemisphere, and we're getting that normally only at the higher latitudes, but all the way down to here in Pennsylvania and Washington, D.C. now. Mozambique is counting the votes from Wednesday's election. They voted Wednesday in a national election with widely expected to see the ruling Frelimo party extend its 49 years in power. Frelimo has been consistently accused of rigging elections, which it has denied over and over again. But it will win again. Trust me. They're not going to lose. Cameroon is banning the media from talking about the health and the status and the whereabouts of its president. Censorship. Cameroon bans immediate talk of a 91-year-old president's health amid rumors. Cameroon's government has banned the media from discussing the health of President Paul Biya, Africa's second longest ruling leader, and rumors the 91-year-old is gravely ill. The world's oldest leader, Biya, has not made a public appearance since early September, fueling rumors that the veteran president's health is failing. The head of state is the principal institution of the republic, and discussions of conditions are a matter of national security. National security. Banana Republic. Banana Republic. Oh, my goodness. Why import chicken, says Org. Support small local farmers here at home. I sell at 45 Rand a kilo. No brine, just natural birds. Well, because you can't produce it as effectively, efficiently, and on the scale that others can. America's poultry farms are massive and produce poultry at a far cheaper rate and ship it all the way to South Africa and can sell it quite well. So, but yeah, support local farmers. I got no problem with that. Orc, I was a local farmer. No problem with that. But why import chicken? Because you can't provide sufficient quantities of quality chicken in volume that Chicken Lickin', that KFC needs. That's why. They can't wait for you to show up with your chickens. And if you got 24 chickens, that's not going to work. And they can't go to 800 people to get 24 chickens. Matthew Dixon says America's chicken is bad quality. Says a person who's never had America's chicken. So, inside the last functioning church in Khartoum North. Church? I said church. I meant hospital. Good Lord. Due to repeated targeting of healthcare facilities throughout Sudan's conflict, the only hospital left in the country's populous city of Khartoum North. 18 months of conflict have led to this. It's the only hospital left in Khartoum North. An area that's recently been recaptured by the RSF. The Rapid Support Forces have regained it from the Sudanese army. Well, the African Union has won the inaugural Leo Tolstoy International Peace Prize, which the IOL claims is iconic. It's not. It's not. The African Union is awarded the prestigious Leo Tolstoy International Peace Prize. How can it be prestigious when it's never existed until September? This took place back in September, but just now being reported. Yeah, there you go. The African Union is awarded the prestigious Leo Tolstoy International Peace Prize in Moscow, marking a significant milestone for its role as a peacekeeper and advocate for unity across Africa. Oh, my goodness. Accepting the award on behalf of the African Union, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Musa Mahamat, expressed his gratitude to the jury and reiterated the AU's commitment to safeguarding peace across the continent, except that the AU is not safeguarding peace across the continent. Dirty little secret. I worked at the African Union with the Peace Support Operations Division and others, and they are failing over and over again. Not because of their lack of interest, not because of their lack of strategy, but because of lack of funding. If it wasn't for the European Union and the Americans, there'd be no money for peacekeeping. None, not a penny. And even with our resources, they're still failing. Well, Iran has threatened neighbors. If they do anything to support the United States, they'll be attacked next. Wow, this is a rogue regime. Somebody needs to go in there, a la Jason Bourne or a Delta team, and do a business there. Iran's secret warning to U.S. allies, don't help Israel or you're next. Tehran is threatening in secret diplomatic back channels to target the oil-rich Arab Gulf states and other American allies in the Middle East if their territories or airspace are used for an attack on Iran. Israel has threatened Tehran with severe reprisal after they fired 180 ballistic missiles at Israel. Well, it's time for the theocratic state of Iran to become glass. Don't you think? Don't you think? Ratan Tata, the founder of the Tata business empire, has passed away at the age of 86. The family-led business empire launched by Mr. Tata touched nearly every facet of Indian life with its holdings and its philanthropy. Ratan Tata, an Indian magnate who grew family business holdings into a sprawling empire spanning from tea to automakers to internet services and made the Tata name synonymous with power and philanthropy and touched nearly every facet of Indian life, died October 9th at a hospital in Mumbai. He was 86 years of age. His death was announced by the Tata Group, where he started in 1960s as a shop floor apprentice in his family's steel subsidiary. No cause for death was given. Now, Mr. Tata led this corporation from 1991 to 2012 and turned it into a global colossus and got revenge on the British colonizers, first by buying Tetley tea brand in 2000, a British brand, now Indian, and he bought Jaguar and Land Rover, owned by Ford, in 2008, and then a year later, he won the Anglo-Dutch steelmaker Chorus, getting even with the colonizers. Well, the Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded to the survivors of the nuclear attacks in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Nihon Hidanyanko, it's a grassroots movement for survivors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The group's efforts have helped establish a nuclear taboo, according to the Nobel Committee, which I would agree with. The 2024 Nobel Peace Prize was awarded on Friday to a Japanese organization for its efforts to achieve a world free of nuclear weapons. For decades, they've represented hundreds of thousands of survivors of the U.S. nuclear attacks on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The survivors, known as the Hibakusha, are living memorials to the horror of the attacks and have used their testimony to raise awareness of the human consequences of nuclear warfare. Yeah, well deserved, and only about 60 years too late. Would have been nice to give this one. Many more people are alive. Taiwan's president, Lai, says Beijing has no right to represent Taipei, and I agree. Taipei and Washington say there's no justification for China launching additional military drills as punishment after Taiwan's National Day celebrations. The People's Republic of China has no right to represent Taiwan. As president, my mission is to ensure that our nation endures and progresses and to unite the 23 million people of Taiwan. I will also uphold the commitment to resist annexation or encroachment upon our sovereignty. There you go. For a long time now, countries around the world have supported China, invested in China, and assisted China in joining the World Trade Organization. This was done out of the hope that China would join the rest of the world in making global contributions. As we stand here today, international tensions are on the rise. In an era when the international landscape is becoming increasingly chaotic, Taiwan will become more calm, more confident, and stronger. Well, good job, Taiwan. Love it. Well, Keir Starmer's pathetic government is out of control, ladies and gentlemen. Labor's first 100 days are an abject failure. Not only have they imprisoned people for holding British flags in public in Britain, not in Tehran, not in Beijing, but in Britain. Not only have they put people in jail for not committing an offense against the legal code, that's happened too. But you were there, so we have to put you in jail. We didn't break any laws, but you were there. Not only have they suppressed freedom and become a fascist, totalitarian, dictatorial state a la the movie V, Vengeance. Remember that movie, Natalie Portman? That's exactly what the United Kingdom is today under Keir Starmer. But they also have a donation scandal and many controversial decisions. Labour's first 100 days running UK panned as the worst start in living memory. According to an October 8th YouGov poll, the 62-year-old lawyer's favorability ratings have plummeted to the lowest level since he took over as Labour leader in 2020. More than 6 in 10 Britons now dislike this clown. It's easily the worst start to a government's time in office in living memory, and it wasn't as if Labour was popular to begin with, said Tim Bale, professor of politics at Queen Mary, University of London. Well, there you go. There you go. Ethel Kennedy, the mother of former presidential candidate Robert Kennedy Jr., has passed away at the age of 96. The scion of the Bobby Kennedy family, a human rights activist and widow of Bobby Kennedy. Ethel Kennedy, the widow of former U.S. Attorney General Robert Kennedy and a longtime human rights activist, died yesterday at the age of 96. Former Massachusetts Representative Joe Kennedy III announced the news of his grandmother's passing on X. Ethel Kennedy was hospitalized after suffering a stroke last week. Along with a lifetime's work in social justice and human rights, our mother leaves behind 9 children, 34 grandchildren, and 24 great-grandchildren, along with numerous nieces and nephews, all of whom love her dearly. The former congressman wrote in a post, "She was a devout Catholic and a daily communicant, and we are comforted in knowing she is reunited with the love of her life, our father, Bobby Kennedy, her children, David and Michael, her daughter-in-law, Mary, and grandchildren, Maeve and Soris, and her great-grandchildren, Gideon and Joseph." Wow, even great-grandchildren died. Marrying into one of the United States' most influential political families, Kennedy supported her husband through a successful Senate campaign and later through a 1968 presidential run, which ended with his assassination months into the campaign. He was gunned down in Los Angeles hotel after winning California's Democratic primary. Wow. Ethel Kennedy, wow. That's a name that's been around my entire life, and she's passed. Barry Obama is out chastising black men. You better get off your ass and go vote for the black woman. You better vote for the black woman. That's right. If you don't, we're taking away your Netflix. No more Netflix. That's right. Barry Obama on the campaign trail here in Pennsylvania. You black men better get off your ass and get out there and vote for Kamala. We know she ain't black, but you better vote for her just the same. Because she look black. She got a hell of a tan. We know she ain't black, but she got a hell of a tan. You must vote. You must vote for Kamala. I will vote for Donald Trump. Say black men. Screw you, Barry. Nobody wants to hear your garbage. Go take your illicit gains from Netflix. Obama admonishes black men for hesitancy in supporting Harris. The former president suggests that some in the black community are uncomfortable voting for a woman or are coming up with excuses. Former President Barack Hussein Obama on Thursday made a direct, impassioned plea to black men to support President Kamala Harris, a key demographic she is struggling to mobilize, admonishing them for thinking about sitting out the presidential contest, as well as suggesting sexism might be at play. Now, I love how Barry comes to Pennsylvania and he admonishes black men for not voting for Kamala. Do you see any black men in that crowd? I see 2 black women in the third row up at the top. Not a single black man. Oh, there's one. There's one right in front of the podium. One black man. Barack Obama goes to Pennsylvania and admonishes black men to vote for Kamala Harris in a crowd full of white people. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. You just can't make this stuff up, folks. You cannot make it up. Excuse me. You just can't make that stuff up. Woo, let me get to the chat real quick here because I got to take a break here laughing. I mean, what have you guys said? But quite a ways back here, you got stuff here. Watching off my phone, power band off in PE for over 36 hours now. Wow, Patrick. Pete needs to implement hard labor in prisons, just like Louisiana. What about the gun safe? Should Zuma become president, Cyril will end up in jail for sure. Yeah, that might happen. South Africa's been a republic like most other countries, and the majority is okay with that. Yeah, sadly, freedom of truth, that is the case. He can't trust his own staff. I can leave my wallet on the table and leave it for a whole day, and my guy wouldn't even touch it. Exactly. John Jarvis, okay, either the MPA are choosing not to prosecute it, or the weight of actual evidence provided them was so weak they could not win. How could the weight of evidence be so weak? Again, they didn't disclose whether they have the receipts for the taxes paid, receipts for bringing $580,000 into the country, whether the receipt for the money returned to the so-called Sudanese business ever took place. Look, this is BS, John. This is BS. Let's not pussyfoot around it. Does it not sound like a prosecutor in Georgia case? Okay, got that already. Hey, Marilyn. Yeah, no other ministry is being scrutinized like this. What's my opinion whether we should implement hard labor in our prisons? I don't know. I'm torn on that, Pablo Charlie. They certainly labor, but I don't know about hard labor. Support Cyril's efforts to avoid tax, but it thinks it's a bit hypocritical to not just pay SARS. Hey, Brian Larson. The apartheid era created a psychological disorder called white distrust, and it would appear virtually every black person in South Africa suffers it to a lesser extent or great extent. Well, a lot do, that's for sure. You don't even have to experience this disorder. It's so contagious, it spreads from person to person, apparently. That's true. Yeah, the shoe company Drip can't even compete in South Africa. But Julius is rushing to the rescue, intruding in the private sector. I support Hank Mudge. Hey, Papa, that's a Namibian dude. I'm a Tembu princess smacks of nepotism. Indeed, it does. Charles says, you will be traumatized if your gold egg had been discovered. Yep, she's the second one for the same crime. If she thinks she has psychological issues now, she should wait until she gets to prison. Exactly, slippery pickle. While she has enough money to afford new friends, hell, she can even insure them while she's there. They really know how to scrape the bottom of the crap barrel to find her esteemed politicians. Yep. At a school prize given yesterday, very impressed with a Nigerian immigrant. Young lady took first place in her garage in Afrikaans, 94%. Well done. Well, Richard, apparently you can't learn an African language in South Africa because of apartheid. That's what Duduzile says. 30 years, she can't do it. Orc says, why import chicken? Why not? Banana Republic of Cameroon. What else we got here? Keith says, American chicken does go cheap. We don't want it over here in UK. Ours costs $3.75 for small battery. Then, good Lord, that's expensive. There's nothing wrong with USA chicken. We import unwanted portions. Exactly. Thank you very much for that. That's exactly right. We send you chicken feet and livers. We don't eat that crap. South Africans eat it. Yeah, USA love breast. It's more emphasis on those pieces, whereas we eat everything. Yeah, exactly, Charles, and that's what I've said before. Yep, I've said that many, many times when I did videos about the tariffs that were imposed on American chicken. British now must register their garden chickens. Good Lord. Source your chicks well researched. I lose maybe 5 chicks every 650, and every 6 weeks I'm looking at approximately 2 kg birds. No, it's pretty good, Orc. We didn't lose many chicks. I used to get them. They come in the box, and you got to put a heat lamp down there, and you got to put the water, but you got to keep the water level very low because these idiots will drown in it. Yeah, I lost a few chicks, but you lose some. Yep, because you get disease. And they're also idiots. They're dumb. They'll just bury each other. Is there another storm hitting after Milton? Possibly. But I'm going to talk about that and how the climate zealots have been misleading the world again. Heavily bleached. No, we don't bleach our chicken. Where are you getting that nonsense from? Very little food produced, USA past their food standards. Please. I've eaten British food, Keith. Oh, please. Please. The Vice Chancellor is doing everything in his power to make the UK stable. Facebook want to ban the sharing the old South African flag. Really? Well, that's censorship. We need Queen Elizabeth more than ever. Yeah. I don't know about that. How did that money get into the country in the first place? Exactly. Sure, there were many laws broken. That's my point, and that's what my video says. Tropical Storm Nadine, okay? 100% hard labor, says Nick. Allison is here. Welcome to you. And I'm caught up on the chat. Okay, back to the news as we get around the world. We lost 10 people because I started taking your chat questions. What's that all about? What's wrong with people? All right, Barry Obama. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer makes a video in which she feeds a Dorito to a young lady. I don't know if it's her daughter or whatever, but it mocks the Catholic communion, and it's pissed off a lot of people. Gretchen Whitmer is an idiot of the highest order. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer gets weird on TikTok, feeds Doritos to left-wing influencer. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer found herself at the center of controversy following the release of a peculiar video featuring her feeding Doritos to a liberal podcaster, what many viewers interpreted as a mockery of Catholic communion. This Gretchen Whitmer video is so bizarre that I'm at a loss for words, one user said. First off, why is the woman on her knees at the feet of Gretchen Whitmer? What the hell is that? Some soft porn? What the hell is wrong with this woman? What is wrong with liberals? They are a diseased bunch. The video was posted on social media by left-wing influencer Liz Plank. Shows Plank kneeling before Whitmer, who is wearing camouflage Harris Waltz hat and places Dorito chip on her tongue. The stage immediately drew comparisons to Catholic sacrament of Holy Communion, sparking outrage. Yeah, these people are morons. Stupidity. Doritos. What's wrong with Doritos? They're not healthy, but what's wrong with them? Many Haitians were prospering in Springfield, Ohio. Then came the hate. No, many Haitians invaded Ohio illegally, and they're criminal alien invaders. I don't care what the New York Times says. They actually admit the truth in the story. Let me see if I can find it down here, as they try to tell a sad story about Haitians who have no business being here. Most of the newly arrived Haitians are in the country legally. Many of them have been granted what is known as temporary protected status because of widespread violence and instability in their homeland. We have widespread violence and instability here because of them and others who've invaded our country. Lake and Riley, ring any bells? Temporary protected status, they came here illegally and they were granted top cover by a corrupt regime known as Biden-Harris. They're not here legally, New York Times. Stop lying. Well, TD Bank has been hit with a record $3 billion fine over laundering money for drug cartels. Good Lord. TD Bank, which is a combination of a few online banks from back in the day, will pay a $3 billion fine to settle charges that failed to properly monitor money laundering by drug cartels. It's a $1.3 billion penalty that will be paid to the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, a record fine for the bank. TD also intends to pay $1.8 billion to the U.S. Justice Department and plead guilty to resolve the government's investigation that the bank violated the Bank Secrecy Act and allowed money laundering. Wow. That's just crazy. The Department of Justice said in a statement that they had long-term pervasive and systemic deficiencies in their procedures monitoring transactions. More than 90% of transactions went unmonitored between January 2018 and April 2024, which enabled 3 money laundering networks to collectively transfer more than $670 million through the bank accounts. In one instance, bank employees collected more than $57,000 worth of gift cards to process more than $470 million in cash deposits from a money laundering network to ensure employees continue to process their transactions and not declare them. Well, I think somebody should be in prison for that, not simply a pass. Well, you may find this surprising, ladies and gentlemen, but apparently Kamala Harris received poor marks as an attorney. Yep, Yep. Kamala Harris received poor job performance reviews when she worked as a civil lawyer for the city of San Francisco, according to city documents obtained by the Daily Mail. The now vice president took a job with the city of San Francisco after she resigned from the San Francisco district attorney's office after she led a poorly organized coup to overthrow Chief Deputy District Attorney Daryl Solomon. I've become disillusioned, disappointed with the top leadership of the district attorney's office, but her leadership skills of her own in her new job were not that impressive. She left the district attorney's office to work for the city attorney Louise Renna as a deputy attorney to run the child services unit in the year 2000. But as she plotted to challenge her old boss, district attorney Terrence Hallinan, for this job, she was not taking her new job seriously. By September of 2002, the Department of Human Services issued a performance review for the team that was less than favorable. Although Harris and her team got favorable ratings for her quality of work, creativity in her advice, and understanding of problems, they got less favorable marks for other important metrics. On a scale of 1 to 5, she got a 2 on whether she was thorough, helpful, and proactive. And there's a report. Surprise, surprise. Kamala Harris was inept as a prosecutor when she actually got paid to be one. Let's take a look at some maps and charts about Milton as we talk about tropical storms. But before we do that, let's see what people have to say. Plank was looking for a plank, not a Dorito. Crude oil price, 1st of October, $66, now $76. Yep. Need to be hands-on every day through the 6-week process. That's correct, Ulrich. You are correct. I was as a kid. Will Trump continue to allow $1 billion paramilitary-like cartel to have free roam? What is CJNJ? I doubt it. Follow the money and get straight to the hidden problem. Exactly right. Okay, let's get to the charts I'm going to show you. This is from CNN. Maps and charts visualizing Milton's historic impact. Some interesting charts here. Okay. 10 million residents remain under threat from dangerous coastal conditions through today. The Gulf of Mexico is hotter than normal. Here's the sea surface temperature. According to the weather, they're saying it's warmer than normal, which is what fuels these things. Temperature changes. This is how much rain was dumped. Precipitation in inches. The dark part is 12 inches straight through St. Petersburg, Tampa, and over to Orlando and Daytona Beach right into the Atlantic Ocean. Wow, 12 inches. That's 1 foot of rain. That is a lot of water in 24 hours. That's insane. And these are flooding, moderate, minor, and major flooding locations across Florida and into Georgia and even all the way up in South Carolina. This is where tornadoes were reported in Florida as a consequence of the storm. On the periphery of the storm, especially the southern side, a lot of tornadoes touched down. And here is the percentage of customers without power as of 1 o'clock yesterday. 90% of people in St. Petersburg, Tampa area were out of power, as well as northeast of Orlando. Wow. And these are petrol stations. As of today, 29% of the petrol stations in the state don't have fuel. Tampa, St. Petersburg, 73% of petrol stations have no fuel. Wow. That's crazy. Now, this is the part where I talk about how they try to get you the climate zealots. You ready for this? Okay. Hurricane Milton is the 5th hurricane to make landfall this year. The climate zealots want to tell us that we are seeing things we've never seen before. The weather has never been like this. We've never had storms and hurricanes. It's out of control. The sky is falling. Biodiversity is going away. There's truth in a lot of those statements, but they're always misleading and overstating the case. Let me show you. I'm going to zoom it up so you can see better because it's hard to read this. I can have a hard time reading it on my big screen. Bring it up here. Okay, Hurricane Milton makes a rare 5th landfall. Okay, so you probably still can't see that very well. In only a handful of years, including 2024, have recorded 5 or more landfalling hurricanes since 1851. Now, the ones that have 5 or more in recent memory, there were 6. There's been years with 6, and that included 2004, 2005, and 2020. Okay, and this one had 5, 2024. So one more would make it up to 6. There's only ever been one recorded year with 7 of these hurricanes that made landfall, and that was in 1886. As far as the other ones that made landfall in 5 storms in a year, 1893, 1909, and 1933. But climate change just started. And then, of course, 4 storms hitting landfall would have occurred in 1869, 1880, 1887, 1906, 1915, 1916, 1926, and 1964. But hey, this is all new. It's all human-induced. Yet, the historical data doesn't support that argument. Now, check out this slimy senator from New York, this piece of human feces. Senator Brad Hoylman Segal. I've confirmed with the Guardian, with the Garden, Madison Square Garden, that they signed an agreement with Trump to hold a rally on October 27th at 3 p.m. at Madison Square Garden, which is in my Senate district. Ooh. Let's be clear. Allowing Trump to hold an event at Madison Square Garden is equivalent to the infamous Nazi rally at Madison Square Garden on February 20th, 1939. This is a person that serves in office. Senator Brad Hoylman Segal is a slimeball. They are so desperate. They are so fearful. They know that they're going to get slaughtered on November 5th. They will say and do anything to lie to people, to portray anyone that doesn't vote for their sick leftist cabal of murdering babies, of burying us in debt, of allowing our sovereignty to be gone, invading our neighborhoods with people who don't share our values, our language, our faith, our belief in the Constitution. Anything to retain power for their self-aggrandizement, self-enrichment. They are sick and twisted and must be removed. Remember earlier I talked about South Africa and the aurora borealis and those solar storms? Well, it's happening here too. The auroras are normally only visible closer to the poles, have been seen in New York and D.C. and as far south as Texas. Check that out, man. That's pretty cool. Time lapse. That's from Germany, though, not from the U.S. Auroras light up the sky in vibrant shades of purple, red, and green, various parts of the world Thursday night. Now, is this climate change? No, it's solar cycles. The lights normally only visible and closer to the planet's poles were seen throughout the U.S. and Europe and also illuminated parts of Australia because of an unusually strong geomagnetic storm rated 4 out of 5. Yeah, but what drives that geomagnetic storm? Solar particles. The solar storm. See you on the Bulls game, says Nick. Okay, I'll see you there tomorrow, Nick. Thank you for popping in today. Be sure to hit the like button before you disappear. What else we got here? Quail. You don't need a large property for quail. We had 17 acres. We had quail. We had pheasant. Not so many pheasant, but plenty of quail. Quail are funny because they're cute little buggers, and you flush them out of the bushes. They like to get on the fence line and live and then hide in the bushes, and they just come out, take off, and you got lots to shoot at. All right. Biden said it's misinformation. Yeah, did you see my video? It's impossible for Trump to fix the fentanyl crisis without tackling and reducing their capabilities. Yeah, okay, Pablo. What's your point? Trump's not president. We have to wait for that. Everyone in the New York City mayor's office being investigated, arrested, or turning exactly right. They're so corrupt. So corrupt. A pink-haired diversity, equity, and inclusion trainer slams Oregon forestry bosses for hiring on the basis of merit, not gender or identity. And then she filed a complaint, and he's been suspended from work from his job because this hateful shrew got him fired. Yeah, for doing his job. A pink-haired DEI trainer slammed Oregon's forestry department for hiring on the basis of merit rather than identity. Megan Doniker filed a complaint about her former boss, Mike Shaw, and moaned about him telling her that he sought the candidates most qualified for the job. DEI advocates like Doniker say hiring should be done through intersectional lens, whereby applicants from marginalized people are given greater weight. Why? What makes you special, ass? Shaw, who earns $192,000 a year as a deputy head of Oregon's Department of Forestry, has been put on leave over her complaint. Doniker, who worked as the department's diversity, equity, and inclusion chief, claims 6 queer staffers didn't feel safe or comfortable at work because they could not have conversation around pronouns. Your job at work is not to discuss pronouns, dipshit. It's to discuss forestry. Hello, Miss Doniker. Wow, she's an avid Dungeons & Dragons player, and I have full stop quit playing Dungeons & Dragons as of October 11th, 2024. The tattooed Salem resident describes himself as an accomplice to marginalized communities. The complaint is one of several from employees and others that the department amounts to an old boys club. Since standing down from her role at the forestry department, she's continued working as a DEI consultant. Oregon's progressive governor, Tina Kotek, was hit by a corruption scandal for hiring her wife as a lesbian, has waded into the drama with her office saying she backs all efforts to advance DEI. Of course she do. Wow. Doniker, who describes herself as an avid Dungeons & Dragons player, lives with her wife, Jay, An adopted 9-year-old and 2 cats quit her job at the department in March after falling out with bosses. It's bad for women at forestry. It's even worse if you're queer. Well, you know, Miss Doniker, the term queer means strange or odd. And you are definitely queer. You are definitely queer. Well, time-lapse photos show up the auroras better than the naked eye. You can't time-lapse something you're looking at, but you can do it with a photo. You catch the photons. Yep. So the WNBA has made some major changes after the hubbub of Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. They're extending the season to 44 games, and they're extending the playoffs instead of the best of 3 to best of 5 or best of 7 series. Yep. After having the most successful regular season in the history of the league, the WNBA is looking to capitalize on its popularity by growing. 2024 season saw an influx of popular rookies, most notably Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, that saw the game reach new heights and capture sports headlines around the country. Yep, they're going to expand the playoffs from a best of 5 to a best of 7, moving away from the current format they've been using since 2005. And there's Caitlin Clark with her Rookie of the Year award, which some racists voted against, so she didn't have a unanimous pick as Rookie of the Year. Disgusting. Disgusting. Yep. It'll be a big year. Next year, new recruits coming in, including University of Connecticut's Paige Buckers, who a lot of people are really looking forward to seeing in the WNBA. All right. There you have it. All right. There's your news for today, folks. Those who left with us, 68. People dropping like flies. Don't tell me that the, let me see if he's up. He's already stolen my night owls. Let's see if he's up now, too. Yep, he's up now. Of course he is. Of course he is. Anyway, it's money printing season for the WNBA due to Caitlin Clark's influence. Yes, but they're too stupid to take advantage of it. They tried to undermine it. The boxer lost the gold medal? Really? What's that at? Let me see that at. Okay, let's see what's going on. No, there's nothing here. Nothing since August. Where are you getting that story from? Well, it's cold in my house because I don't turn the heat on. I'm saving energy, which is what I always do. I usually wait until November 1st to turn the heat on at the earliest. It is 62 degrees outside, but it's actually colder than that in my house. So 62 degrees to Fahrenheit to Celsius. What's that? 16 degrees. It's 16 degrees inside my house, or outside. Inside my house, it's actually colder than that. Yeah, so there you go. No, I like wearing hoodies. I just don't wear them when it's hot. So, yeah. But it's colder outside. Caitlin Clark basically is the WNBA. You are right, Hendo. Windows today is 31 degrees. Yeah, it's getting warm there in South Africa as you move into spring. Yep. Vikings love cold houses. Yep. Caitlin Clark has a personality of someone who has and will achieve even more greatness. Yeah, yep. Angel Reese is a model. She's a great OnlyFans candidate. Yeah. I'm at the 49th parallel, and the last solar storms have been like wispy clouds, but a foam pic shows greens and yellows. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Well, yeah, but you're way up there in Washington State. 16 degrees Celsius is nice winter's day. Yeah, it's lovely temperature for me. I enjoy it. In fact, I'm going to cut the grass again. Probably not going to do it this afternoon. And we'll see if they got any steam crabs because we're running right to the end of steam crabs. Not be able to get them much longer. I don't even know if I'll be able to get them this weekend. In fact, let me look and see if there's any specials or if they've done anything. I doubt it. So let me just look and see. Nope, nothing to see. They haven't sent any mail. So I wonder if they even have crabs. Anyway, so that's going on. Got to deal with that. So anyway, the rugby. Yeah, we got rugby tomorrow, folks. 3 games tomorrow, and then 1 on Sunday. The Lions play on Sunday against the Dragons. Tomorrow, the Bulls, the Sharks, and Province all play. 16 degrees is a hoodie. No heating required. Exactly. No, I'm wearing shorts too, as I'm always wearing shorts. You guys know that. Always wearing shorts. So, yep. No, I'm just wearing the hoodies because I like them. This hoodie, I don't think I've ever worn this hoodie. I picked this up when I went to Ohio a few years ago. How about a Stormers going to lose? By 12. I doubt that, Matthew. I doubt that, seriously. Brett saw my video. Okay, Brett, what'd you think? Yep, I thought it was pretty good. Put some good effort into that this morning. And has anybody watched it? Let's see. Well, Brett watched it. and a few others have watched it. Let's see. A total of 320 people. Wow. That's disappointing. 320 people watched it. Yep. A lot of effort went into that. You asked Rob Hersoff to invest in the National Rugby League for you. No, I need to get Rob Hersoff to invest in my broadcast business. That's what I need to get Rob Hersoff to do. Don't scratch too much, says Dylan. Ha 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 ha. Brett liked the video. Cool beans. And Garrett liked it too. Yeah, it's a shame that it doesn't get all the play. I mean, I look at something that that Mighty Jamie puts up, and he's got 74,000 views on it. Mighty Jamie. Can Hendo post the link? Link to what, Brett? Great North American man with beard and shorts is a cultural touchstone in the U.S. Nas Khalif has dodged a bullet. There was talk. Huh? What are you talking about, Nick? What are you talking about? In the wintertime. Well, those who are devout viewers of my program know that they watched me a couple years ago when we first started doing this in 2020 in the winter. Was it 2020? It was 2021 wintertime, and I'm out in shorts walking around with snow up over my knees. Well, he just posted. There you go. Maryland's missing the games. Boy, you got a lot of family coming, Maryland, but that's nice. Nice the family comes to visit. I haven't got any family to visit. My sister and one of my brothers live in Arizona. My other brother lives in Nashville. My other sister lives in Ohio. She's visited once or twice. I visit her more often than that, but the other ones never visit. I've been out to Nashville and seen my brother a couple of times, but I've seen my sister in Arizona once, and I haven't seen my brother since 1994, I think. 30 years since I physically saw my brother. Yep. And my mother's passed away. My father's passed away. Got a lot of cousins. I see them sometimes in Maryland. Live snow walk was nice. It was light rain, yeah. Yeah, Dylan and I wore shorts in South Africa in the wintertime, too. Kortbrücke. Yep. Hey, folks, we have another broadcast coming up at the top of the next hour. It is with a non-profit organization, and I'm looking forward to that. Let me just take a look real quick what I've put down to describe that bad boy. So it is the Emmanuel Kitzido Foundation, and Eileen Ben and Kitzido Amadi will be joining me to talk about that and their charitable work. So I hope you can hang around. Actually, I should link that from this to that one. Hadn't thought about that. Customization, we'll do that very quickly here. And if you can hang around, helping those in need. Yeah, we'll talk about feeding the homeless, or feeding the hungry, I should say, not the homeless. Maybe they help the homeless too, I don't know. But yeah, that's coming up shortly. So that's the next hour. Yeah. And hopefully you'll find it interesting. Boy, yesterday was a long day, folks. A long, long day. I made videos, then I did broadcasts, then I had to rush out to the work college to do some paperwork on a computer, and they had problems there, and I came back, and I had to go to the health benefits advisor to make sure that my referral was good, so I didn't get billed for the magnetic resonance imaging I'm having done next week. And then found out about another appointment that I didn't realize I had the following week. Thankfully, I've checked into it. And then I came back and I grabbed something real quick and I rushed off to the Veterans Organization where I met with banker, then met with the officers, and I got home at 9 o'clock. The night before I was working until after 9 on the radio. And the night before that, I got home at 9:45. Ronaldo's fond of telling people that I'm retired, but I don't know what retired I am. Radio Free South Africa. Does that mean you'll move to South Africa? There's a chance of that. Never know. That's one very full Friday. Well, that's Thursday. Today's Friday. If it wasn't for the interview I'm doing, which I was asked to do, I didn't seek this interview out. I was asked to do the interview, and now I've scheduled it. Also, I potentially finally have a follow-up on a story that I've been trying to deliver about Makonda, and my source on that, who's in the political party down there in the council, I wasn't sure if they're ignoring me, but they're just busy. Finally responded back, and depending on what happens today, I should be getting a message to let me know whether we can do a video on Sunday or a stream. Yep. So I'm guessing that more people have fled over to watch a dog bark on the other channel. Let me take a look and see. Yeah, he's got 59 now, so 19 people have left, and that correlates exactly with the diminishment of my audience since I mentioned that. Pablo Charlie says it's Grahamstown. Fine, Pablo Charlie. I have no problem with calling it Grahamstown. Babylon Bee's movie, January 6th, the most deadliest day, premiere this weekend. That ought to be hilarious. MRI on what? On me, Garrett. On me. Trying to determine why I have nerve issue. Yep. Anyway, so I was supposed to be done, and I was going to order crabs and relax, but I'm doing the interview. That's coming up after this. So Brett says, thoughts on Christians celebrating Halloween. I think the language, the term has to be clear. Thank you for the $2, Brett. Do appreciate that. I think we have to be clear about the language. Celebrating Halloween or participating, two different things. I'm a Christian, and I grew up with Halloween. It didn't impact my Christian views or my beliefs. It didn't lead me to Satanism. Didn't lead me to Wiccanism. I got no problem with it. There are lots of things, Christmas was the festival of Saturnalia, if I'm not mistaken, originally, which was a pagan festival, and we turned it in and used it for the birth of Christ. So, it's no one's harmed by it. There's no harm by Halloween. There's no harm by Christmas. There's no harm by Ramadan, unless you're really hungry, but that's not harm. Yeah, it's not a Christian holiday. Some city and some banana republic. No qualms about celebrating Halloween. I'm Christian. I use Halloween to talk about the brave Roman soldiers of World War I. Excuse me. Gosh, bless it. Last night was a weird night. After 3 long nights, I'm not getting much. I got rest, but 3 long nights of getting exhausting stuff. I had a weird sleep night last night. But these are pretty cool cards, huh? I really like this one. This one for Trump. Yep. I want you to vote early. Nope. I'm voting Election Day. Vote straight Republican. Nope. 2 offices with candidates will never get my vote again. I don't vote for liars and cheats. November 5th, vote for Dave McCormick. Got my vote. Despite all the lies being spread about him on commercials being paid for in the millions of dollars. They're spending probably now over $400 million total, both campaigns in this state. It's insane. Don't give any bad energy it doesn't need. Should apply to most things. That's true, Debbie. Bacchus Bacchanalia. I'm not celebrating drinking. What's this? Light Rain says he will deputize his followers as independent media and they will do the reporting from the field. Dylan says I'm best streamer. Well, Dylan, that's very kind of you. There are actually some very talented streamers out there. There's people who are very much better at editing their content than I am and making videos. Although I must say that I think I've come a long way in my video editing capabilities. I think they're much better productions now than they were when I first started. Because they're liars, Pablo Charlie. Trump doesn't hate foreigners, and I don't hate foreigners. Far from it. I've spent my entire life living all around the world, immersing myself in other people's cultures and languages to learn them, to become familiar with people, to understand them, to contribute to them. I've saved countless lives through my direct interventions and my actions, either as an intelligence analyst or as a security assistance officer or as a military officer or as an educator. And, so it's just a lie. It's just a lie. It's like America. So if Donald Trump hates foreigners and immigrants so much, then why did he allow this Department of State? He could have issued an executive order to stop it because that he has control over. He allowed the Department of State to naturalize hundreds of thousands of foreign nationals every year. U.S. naturalizations by year. Let's take a look at this. Let's see if this chart does it for me. Well, that's not right. That's by month. We don't want to see that. I want year. I want year, not month. This chart doesn't help me. But I will use that to show you something here in a second here. I think this is the one that'll show me. There you go. There you go. Okay, number of new U.S. citizens per year. Okay? So, look how generous America is. Whoops, that's not what I want. This is a chart going back to 1900. Okay? The number of new U.S. citizens, people naturalized, is on the scale on the left-hand side, 100,000, 200,000, up to 1 million. Okay? If you look, up until 1984, America never really did more than 200,000, except during the Second World War when we took a lot of refugees, a lot of Jews, and people came in. and people join our military to become citizens. But up until 84, not much. But from 84 onwards, look at it start spiking. Okay? And look at this peak here in 96. We took in 1 million immigrants naturalized. Over 1 million people. Now, this is when Obama was president, 600,000. Then 1 million. Then 700,000. 2010, 600,000. Okay, Trump became president in 2017. We naturalized 707,000. In 2018, 761,000. In 2019, 843,000. In 2020, just 628. Biden, 813, and then 969. So we see that Trump was consistent. Every year since 2006, we've naturalized over almost 700,000. We've only gone below we haven't below 500,000 new Americans since 2004. Wow. 11,000 people became American citizens because of their military service in 2004. Only 5,000 in 2022. So that's how many people we've allowed to become American citizens. And during Trump's regime, every year over 700,000 people became American citizens. So Trump is not issue with foreign nationals. But look where the foreign nationals are coming from. Okay? These are all people of color. Mexico, Canada, well, that's one exception. Dominican Republic, El Salvador, South Korea, Haiti, Cuba, China, Jamaica, Colombia, Philippines, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Iran, India, Brazil, Pakistan, Nigeria. Only Canada has white people. All the rest of these people are not white people. But we're evil, systemic racists, but we let all these people in our country. It's utter nonsense. Utter nonsense. I have no qualms with Christians visiting Transylvania. Oh, I've been to Transylvania. But Transylvania is Christian, so what's the issue? Trump is in a league of his own. He is. USA would be better off spending that money on restoring American infrastructure. Yeah, exactly. Then I'm voting? No, not that I'm voting. No. I'm a Celtic Christian, have no bother with Halloween. Yep. Andre Rue is here. Welcome, Andre. $10 a.m. planned launch the SpaceX flight. Your time tomorrow. Keith, I'll be live streaming rugby at that time, so I'll have to miss it. Thank you for that, though. I like to point out that the Catholics always point out that they're Catholic, not Christian. Yeah? That's because they thought they were the only real Christians. That was their plan originally. Right. A lot that's not reported. Canadians fleeing Trudeau, many such cases. Yep. Trudeau's in the Philippines? I didn't know that. Hey, Andre. Thoughts on the movie elections? SWAPO shouldn't win this time, but they probably will. They're not a popular party anymore. SWAPO has spent 30 years not meeting the expectations of poor Namibians and done a fair amount of race hustling in recent history. Traditionally, they had never done that, but now they take their cues from Zimbabwe and South Africa, and the ruling party becomes racist. But they, in local elections, they got pummeled last time. They don't even control Windhoek. It's controlled by opposition. Yep. So, what about Hank Mudge? What about him? You want me to cover him? Bring him up here? President of the Republican Party is the party's only member of the National Assembly for 7 years when he resigned. He was born in Uchiwarongo. He joined the Turnhall Alliance way back when. So anyway, he's old. That's what I can say about him. 72 now. Official opposition. I hope that they can pull something off Namibia. It does. Namibia has a ton of potential, and it's always had a ton of potential. It's fascinating how they destroyed the caracal sheep industry, though. The pelts, that was incredibly profitable business for them. They had uranium. They had caracal sheep pelts. They had diamonds. They had so much going for them. Yep. And they have tourism. Yep. Anyway, folks, I will be live in 30 minutes with this interview. So feel free to come back and join us. You'll be redirected to that stream right now if you want to go there. But thanks for being here. I do appreciate it. Just want to check on something real quick before we take off. Okay. We'll see you shortly for that live stream. Thanks for being here. And if I don't see you on that one, then maybe we'll see you on Rugby Ascended tomorrow for 3 broadcasts. Have a good evening. She's in America. She could leave him, get nothing, write a book, and still be a millionaire. She's not being held against her will. What? What is this? Who's being... Hey, Michael Holmes, if Kamala wins, will there be... Yeah, there'll be elections. Just be like the Soviet Union. There'll just be, pro forma. What did Pickle say? I don't know. Were you talking about Melania Trump? No, Melania Trump is not being held against her. What a comical story that is. Seeing that all over the place. All right. People believe anything. They really will. They believe anything. Cheers, and we'll see you shortly. Bye-bye.